Hi, Bubba. It's me. Sorry, I didn't call you a little bit earlier, but I'm going to bed now. But I will try to call you tomorrow night if possible. It is going to be a busy day, but I will try to do that. I was just thinking about you and hope you're doing okay. And I'm going to bed now, so you don't have to reply. But I will talk to you later. I love you. Bye-bye. Good night.
Alana, Jaylo,
Yes.
we just took out your recycling.
And I took out the garbage. I put the garbage down the chute there. Yes.
We're going to work on getting you a reward for that, babes.
Okay.
No. But after you came back, you asked me to help you with the recycling bin. We
Yes.
did that.
Yes.
And then I broke down the pizza boxes.
Yes.
So I'm glad we got that out of the way before I go.
Yes, so am I.
Yes.
Yes. It is, I am thankful that in this building I don't have to go outside to the dumpster to do it.
That's nice.
That's very nice. Do you have a garbage chute in your building?
We do.
Nice.
It's just down the hall.
Nice. Because in other buildings, I had to go outside, and I literally had to take it to the dumpster. I'm like, ew, I don't want to touch that. So, I'm glad that the chute leads to the dumpster. So
Very good.
I'm thankful for that.
We've been having a pretty good morning.
Yes.
I woke up at around 7, the same time you did, but you quickly said that you needed more rest.
Yeah, I did.
And now you're fiddling with your box, which is always fun to see.
Container.
Okay.
Container.
What else? So
it's a basket. Okay, it's a basket.
Around 7:05, you went back to sleep for an hour. You woke up, said you needed more rest.
And I slept for another 30 minutes.
And I just fell asleep then.
Yeah, you're like, well, what if and so I set an alarm for 30 minutes, and that was that.
It was good, babes.
It was good, yes.
I'm very glad you did that.
Yes, and then after 9, the day began.
Yes, with showers and...
Separate, by the way.
Hot chocolate. Separate, because I'm not that kind of guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? You're going to sit here and tell me that? I don't think so.
Although, the one benefit is we would save time in the bathroom if we shower together.
Oh, jeez.
And I'd be able to monitor how you wash yourself, because I don't know if you do it correctly.
Okay. I don't think I want to talk about that.
Okay. Oh, what? You started to tickle me. What's that for?
I could.
Okay. That's not a good enough reason, okay?
Because you're the only one because you're the only one here I can tickle.
Uh-oh.
Well, I can't do it to myself.
Nice.
Kind of hard to do that.
Uh-oh. So yesterday, babes.
Yes.
After doing this, we hung out for a while, listened to KMHD for a few hours.
Yes.
And then you were very gracious and bought me dinner on Grubhub.
I bought us both dinner.
Yes.
Yes.
And I ate half of yours.
Yes, and because I already ate quite a bit of mine, and I said, "Here, you want the rest of the?" Because we both got chow mein.
Mm-hmm.
I also got. I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember if the fried rice had meat in it, but it didn't. It had some peas and some other things in it, but there was no meat, so I didn't know if you were gonna like it, but you ate it and it sounds like you did.
I scarfed that thing down.
It was good, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
And I got so I had half chow mein, half fried rice with Beijing beef, and it was really good.
You ate all of that before you gave me yours, though, which is nice.
I did.
Yes.
I did, because you were not in the meat mood, so I ate it all, and I gave you the rest of it.
And I had their veggies, chow mein, and white rice.
Yeah, the greens, yep.
Yes.
And you liked it.
It was good.
Yes, it's delicious.
Afterwards, we decided to do a little bit of cinematic roulette, if you will.
Yeah.
And we had brought up the fact that neither one of us has explored the catalog of Studio Ghibli, which is now streaming on HBO Max. We talked about that yesterday.
Yeah.
How they're all dubbed there.
It's a Japanese version of Disney.
Yes.
Yes.
We went through some of the titles, not really knowing them what any of them were about. You said, why don't we try, was it Our Neighbor the Hamadas or My Neighbor?
My Neighbors the Yamadas.
Would you like to give a recap of this film?
I can't.
Oh, good.
You know why
yeah.
I can't? You know why I can't? Because this film was not really a movie per se, because it didn't have a plot line, and it was just like these short, funny vignettes.
Okay, this is going to sound for the first half of it at least like we're just ragging on this movie.
Yeah.
So maybe we should say up front, while it's definitely not our favorite film,
yeah,
it is enjoyable.
It's good. It is funny. It's entertaining. It's not a deep movie.
No, not at all.
There's a lot of funny things that go into it, because this family isn't the brightest family in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're really not. The mom is not too bright. The dad isn't too bright. I think the son is. The son and the grandma are the only ones that seem to be the smart ones. And then they have their daughter.
And it's such a weird movie. It would have worked better as a TV series.
Yes.
One of the things I didn't like about it, so I've seen Jim Belushi live before.
Uh-huh.
Right, and you've already know that.
At the Blues Fest, right?
Exactly.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and he seems like a nice guy. I mean, looks can be deceiving.
Was he just there just to watch?
No, he introduced the band.
Which one?
Oh, God, I wish I remember. I don't. I'm sure I could find out.
It might have been in your journal, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it was, because that's how I would look back and see.
Right.
I'm sure I cataloged that. But,
okay.
Or I archived it, rather. But he goes on stage and he's like, oh, me and Danny saw this band years ago. And by Danny, he's talking about Dan Aykroyd. Obviously.
Okay.
And it was really, really cool. Anyways, Jim Belushi, from what I can tell, seems like a nice guy. And as a kid, I enjoyed Mr. Destiny.
Mm.
But one criticism I have of this film is they used American-sounding actors like Jim Belushi to do the dubbing, and it takes you out of the film and makes it feel a lot more American.
I would agree with you on that. I think what would have been great is they would have real voices from people either from Japan or people that are actual Japanese American actors and actresses.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, because they're just not Japanese. They look Japanese, but they certainly don't sound Japanese.
Besides for their diet, it feels very Japanese. I mean, very American, rather.
Because the stereotypical Japanese diet is like miso soup with ginger, or they put ginger in it in whatever they're eating, and then you have the curry, and it's like and sushi, and I'm like, why couldn't it have been a real authentic Japanese meal made by real Japanese people? I don't know. This is where, and we've had this conversation about cultural appropriation, right?
Yes.
This is where I think that would be appropriate.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, stick to what the movie is supposed to represent here.
At one point, the grandmother tries to make an American dish.
Stroganoff.
Yes. And I'm thinking to myself, come on.
Yeah, she's like, I'm making beef stroganoff, and then she burns it. She's like, yeah, I messed up the meal. It's part of the sushi.
Now, I have heard that baseball is popular in Japan. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yes, it is.
But in the movie, Jim Belushi's character is watching baseball on TV in one part of it.
I think it is because I will tell you this, that back in the early 2000s, I went to a Mariners game with a bunch of people. And if you've heard of Ichiro Suzuki, he was one of the popular players on the Mariners baseball team. Have you heard of him?
I have not.
I believe baseball is a popular sport in Japan, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So we should say when the movie starts, There's this really interesting scene at the movie where the grandma is doing narration, and she starts talking about family and how you have to be on the same team with each other.
I don't think that was the grandma.
That wasn't her? Okay.
No. I think it was some other lady that they probably knew, but I don't know who she was.
Gotcha. And she's talking about, it's easy to roll your boat together when the waters are safe, but that's when things have the potential to go wrong.
Yep.
Then we have the first vignette, and we're not going to go through very many of these because I just don't remember them all, and it would be too overwhelming.
Right.
Where the family is trying to go somewhere, and they realize that they left the daughter sleeping at the mall. So they return there. By now, she has met a little boy. The daughter's maybe like 9. The little boy, I'm guessing, is around 6 or 7.
Yeah, and he's crying because he can't find his mommy.
They go up to the help desk. By the time the parents get back, she's gone.
Yep.
The lady who helped the kid said, she ran off with somebody, and she seemed to know her.
Yeah.
They are scrambling around. Eventually, they return home, and there's a phone call saying that the daughter is safe and sound. And I was assuming that that's going to be the start of this movie, as far as like building the plot up, and then it just goes to another vignette.
Yeah, and this part of this vignette shows part of why I think that this family is not so bright, because, and I understand, the little girl's name is Nonoko, and Nonoko is saying, she is acknowledging that this little boy lost his mom, but she's saying that, well, I lost my family too, but there's a lot of lost grown-ups. So the grown-ups are lost, not the kids, right? Mm-hmm. I just thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, that part worked for me.
That was funny. And that, and he said, I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. And she's like, well, you followed all the rules, so it's okay. And I'm like, that is so funny. But it also shows that she's not very smart. But, you know what I thought was the vignette that was going to start off the plot?
Tell me.
Remember when the little boy, Noboru,
yes,
he says, if my father was handsome and smart and my mom was beautiful and was a good cook, I would have it made, or whatever you said.
And you looked over and you're like, oh, that sounds like somebody I know.
That sounds like something you would say.
Yes.
And you're like, yeah, I think I would say that. I'm beginning to get to know you a little too well.
Yes. The problem with doing vignettes, besides for the fact that we don't really have a plot point to hold our attention, right? I mean, we know it's about a crazy family, but there's no real story behind that, is you get exhausted because there's so many things going on. Like, I remember at one point, I look and see that we're 56 minutes into the movie, and I think to myself, it feels like we should be like a lot closer to the end.
I know.
And maybe 10 minutes later, you say, yeah, this movie's been going on for a long time.
It's a long movie.
Yeah, and I feel if they would have stuck to one story, you wouldn't be checking at your watch,
and it wouldn't feel
an
so
hour
long.
into it. Yeah,
I thought we already passed an hour,
mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh no, it's not done yet, and I'm like,
we had just passed an hour when you asked.
We just passed an hour, and it felt like 2 hours. I don't know. It just seemed like it was all over the place. They were funny though. The vignettes were funny. A couple of them we didn't understand.
And I think that's maybe the way humor is translated, also being blind. We could have missed some stuff. And this movie looks very, washed out.
What was really confusing to me was when the narrator was narrating, the names of the vignettes and things that were happening. But I didn't understand why.
The reason he was doing that, partially, was because they show these cue cards with the name of them, but they're in Japanese.
Oh.
So he has to do that. But then he starts narrating their movements.
Yeah, I know.
Which I didn't get either.
It's confusing, right?
Yeah. What I would say is I wouldn't necessarily recommend that somebody watch this as a whole movie. I would actually recommend that people go on YouTube and watch specific scenes from it.
Yeah.
Which it's normally that's a horrible way to watch a film. But I think that would add to this experience.
What was also confusing is when he would quote stuff from Basho, right?
That wasn't that confusing.
Was it?
No.
What do you mean?
I wasn't confused by that.
What could you explain it then?
Somebody was giving a quote.
Only a quote, but then he was also narrating the vignettes too.
Mm.
I don't know. It was I understood why he was talking. I understood why he was saying the titles of the vignettes, but I didn't understand the movements and why he put the quotes in there. I don't know.
One of the pieces that just did not work for me, and I thought went on far too long, was the thing with the motorcycle gang.
Yeah, I know.
It felt like that was 10 minutes, and it could have been like a 3-minute thing.
Yeah, and the father was thought of as a moonlight rider.
Yeah, which that might be big in Japan, but we don't have any context for it here.
It was so weird.
Yeah.
It was really weird. Yeah.
Usually, I like to do character analysis, but I don't know if that's applicable in this case.
I don't think we can do that because everything was so much, it was just all over the place.
In light of doing that, what I would like to ask you is, and I know you don't have the answer, what do you think the filmmakers were trying to tell us, if anything?
I can only guess. I guess they wanted to take a glimpse in the day in the life of what a Japanese family does, even though it seems more American, and how crazy they are. They're not very bright. They have some funny antics, and it makes for good humor, even though there's no plot line. And maybe they meant, for whatever reason, they meant not to have a plot line. I wish they did, though.
Yeah.
I did.
I think this film could have been a lot better. Having said that, you kind of got to applaud the filmmakers for taking such a risky move.
Yes.
They
probably thought, well, we don't know how this is going to go. But I enjoyed it. I wouldn't give it, it wasn't like the best movie, but I enjoyed it. It's not a deep movie, and it's something that you could, eat popcorn while you're watching it.
Would you agree with me that you would recommend, if somebody wants to see it, to watch it on YouTube?
I think, yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do. Like, watch section by section.
Yeah.
Vignette by vignette. But, so that you can take a bunch of them in, you don't have to take all of it in, because it is a lot. There are a lot of vignettes in there. A lot. I honestly think way too many, but...
Yeah, I would agree.
There has to be... I mean, if there was like a plot and the vignettes contributed to the plot...
It would have worked a lot
better. That would have been a lot better, but there was no plot. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that was very confusing to the both of us.
So after we get done with this movie, I'm kind of thinking to myself, oh God, we had discussed watching another Studio Ghibli movie. I think I had heard of this film Kiki's Delivery Service before, so let's just go with that. And who knows what this film was going to be, right?
Oh, it was.
But we had we both really enjoyed Kiki's Delivery Service.
It was entertaining. There was a really good story.
Yes.
The person who played the voice of Kiki was excellent. There wasn't. There might have been one voice we recognized, but
Phil Hartman, I think, did her cat.
Phil Hartman?
That's my guess.
I don't think it was Phil Hartman. It might have been, but
it sounded like him to me. I could be wrong, though.
It might have been somebody. You could be right. Oh, you know what? He might have been. It might have been Phil Hartman, who was the voice of Troy McClure.
Phil Hartman was the voice of Troy McClure.
No. That's what I was
Everybody
thinking.
knows that.
No. I know that. I'm just saying. I think you might be right, because I just realized that he sounded like Troy McClure.
Who is Phil Hartman? Yes, but in any event, this film is like. It's going to sound weird coming from me, but it's a good family film that adults can watch. And I know people always try to say that about Disney movies. Half the time, they're just trying to say that because it sounds cool. But in this case...
No, but you haven't watched a lot of them. You have to understand, though. I watched a lot of them, and there are some that I think are worthy to be called good family movies.
There are some, but for the most part... Disney films don't hold up for adults.
For the most part.
There are some exceptions to the rules. Right? So, Coco, I think, is a great family movie.
Yes.
If we want to go back, Snow White, Pinocchio, and maybe the second and third Toy Story movies and the fourth one. But overall, I don't think Pixar movies are... fun for the whole family. Maybe Soul too.
Soul is really good.
Yeah.
there are so many movies that even I haven't seen that I'd like to, but to say for the most part is kind of pushing it.
I feel that there's this trend of adults having to say that everything Disney puts out is brilliant and is great for the entire family, and I just don't.
I mean,
get it.
not everything is. I'm not saying that everything I've watched. I mean, The Hunchback of Notre Dame was a big disappointment for me. I didn't like that one. I mean, I grew up watching a lot of them, and then there's some that I haven't seen. Like I haven't seen the Aristocats. That's another old movie that I wanted to see. And we were talking about Fantasia, right?
Yes.
Which is
not a blind friendly film, from what I understand.
I heard that the music is great, but there's a lot of visual stuff to it that I don't know. If there's a plot line, I'd like to know, but I think it's just too visual. But anyway, I think we're going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, let's suffice it to say, I don't get the whole trend now of adults having to say they like every kids movie that comes out. But that's me.
Yeah, I honestly think you're reading too much into it. But
okay, but this kid's film works on so many different levels.
It was really good.
It's borderline 9 on the scale of 1 to 10 for me.
And I actually I am on the same page with you because it was really, really well done, and the voice acting was great. And
yeah, my only real complaint about this movie, though, is it goes back to something I had with the previous film, is I wished that they would have gotten Japanese actors to do the voiceover.
Yeah. I did like that this film, I only recognized 1 or 2 voices. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, everybody else I have not.
Do you want to give a recap of the story, babes?
I will try. So Kiki is a 13-year-old witch who decides to she is going to leave on a certain night to live away from home for a year because she's a witch in training, and she decides to leave on this particular night. She makes a broom. I don't know what she makes it out of, but she makes a broomstick, and her mother insists on her taking her mother's old broom. And she's like, I don't want to take that. And she goes, well, it'll be good for you. It'll be good for you because I know how to use it, and I can teach you how to use it, and it'll be good for you to have something that has stood the test of time. So she takes her cat Gigi. They fly off, and she when you first see her fly, she really has a hard time.
No, that's a running gag throughout the movie, which I think is so funny.
She hits the trees.
Yeah.
She what else does she hit?
She's kind of flying backwards.
The bells, right?
Yeah, she hits. I think the bells are on the broom, but she's kind of flying backwards. She's trying to fly straight, and it just works.
Yeah, she just could not figure out how to maneuver this broom.
She also has her cat turn on the radio while she's flying, which I thought was a really funny add-on to the film. But keep going.
And the radio was in the back with the cat, right?
No, the radio is kind of dangling off the broom in front of her. I guess it's tied to a string or something.
Right, okay. And so they're flying. They finally get up above the trees, and she is flying into rain and wind and storms. You can imagine it's not easy to fly on a broomstick if you're a human witch. But they're looking for towns to live in, and she talks to this really snobby witch. And she's a young witch too, and she basically says, my skill is fortune telling, and I'm going to go home to see my family because I'm almost done with my year. I think that's what she said.
Something to that effect.
Yeah. And she is basically asking her, well, what is your special skill? And Kiki says, well, I haven't decided. And so she kind of gives her this look of, oh, you're such an amateur. So I love what Gigi says. He's like, oh, what a snob. Did you see that cat?
Yeah.
So they're flying around. They see this town. people are already looking at her because she's different and she's flying on a broom. She is the cause of an accident.
Yeah, because she still doesn't know how to control the broom. So at one point, she goes down really close to the ground, and cars crash into each other.
And then there's also a plane under her in a few scenes.
Oh, keep going, babes.
Or one scene. Anyway.
I think that's later on, but keep going.
It's later on, but I think I might be skipping. So they get to this town.
I don't think it was rainy that night either, but keep going.
Okay, so they get to this town, and she's trying to figure out what to do. A bunch of things happen. I'm not going to give everything away.
Okay.
But she meets, she goes to this bakery, and this lady forgets her pacifier. So Kiki goes up to the baker and says, I could deliver this pacifier. I could just fly and deliver the pacifier to that woman. So she says, okay, why don't you do that? So she takes the pacifier, delivers it to the woman with the baby, and says, the baker says you left this. And the baker decides to take Kiki under her wing. And I have to mention, she's also pregnant.
Yes. The baker, not Kiki.
The baker, not Kiki.
It's not like her and her cat have been spending that much time
Oh,
together.
my goodness. Why do you have to say that?
Keep going, babes. I said it's not like. Keep going.
Ugh. Sure you did. So the baker decides to take her in. She lives in their attic with Gigi, and at first it's very dumpy and dusty and gross. And she decides to make it her own place, and she tells Gigi, I'm not going to leave this town. I'm going to stay here. So Gigi's stuck. And then she tells, things happen. She tells the baker that I want to start a delivery service. I think I would be good at it. She says, okay, well, you do a delivery service and you also work for me. As long as you take care of the shop once in a while, then you can live in my attic.
For free and use my phone.
And use my phone.
Yep.
And I'll give you the room with the phone, eventually. So she agrees. She has a couple of customers to deliver to. One of them being an older woman who bakes this weird pie for her granddaughter's birthday.
That comes up a little bit later in it.
But that's one of the
customers. Go ahead.
It does come up later, but I wanted to mention that one because that's an important one.
Yes.
Other people have asked her to deliver, like this woman asked her to deliver a toy for her nephew's birthday. A bunch of things happen. A lot of chaos ensues. In the midst of all this, she meets a boy named Tombo Kapori. And in fact, she ends up delivering a package to him. He invites her to this... I know I'm skipping around because there's a lot in this movie. But he invites her to this... what do you call that?
It's like an air show?
An air show.
Yeah. By the way, just to give some clarification, she delivers the package to him after the air show. But keep going.
Yeah, she does.
This is like the Pulp Fiction version of Kiki's delivery service. But keep going.
Yeah, she after the air show. I know I'm skipping around. I also should mention too. Let me think. It was before that. One of the packages is broken because she is supposed to deliver it to this woman's nephew's place.
Yes.
And she ends up meeting Ursula, which I found out later that was her name. Ursula, a young painter. And she somehow fixes the cat's head. And she has been looking for an inspiration for her artwork. And in fact, she wants to use Kiki for her painting. And she explains it later on. But she fixes the cat's head. Meanwhile, Gigi ends up being replaced with the toy cat.
Yes.
And he ends up befriending a dog named Jeff. Nice dog. And so he convinces Kiki to ask Jeff to replace him by taking the toy cat in.
Yep.
And he agrees. Not reluctantly, but he agrees. He's like, okay. It's like he didn't even know. So Kiki and Gigi go back home. There's a whole bunch of things that happen. She at one point gets sick.
Do you want me to?
I want you to chime in because I know I'm skipping a lot of stuff.
Yes. Okay. So she is asked to make the cake delivery that we talked about later.
Yep.
She goes over to the old lady's place, and the old lady has an old maid, funny enough, who at one point tries to ride the broom, which made me laugh. Anyways, the old lady made this like herring and pumpkin
pot pie.
Yuck. But she couldn't get it to rise because the stove wasn't working.
Yep.
And she offers to pay Kiki anyways. Now, this is the same night that she's supposed to meet Tombo for their big get-together.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But she says to herself, well, you know, I'm here early. Why don't I help you out and we'll see what we can do.
You know, I can get there in about 15 minutes.
Yes. So they start working on the pie because there's this other wooden stove. And Kiki doesn't realize at first that the clock is a little bit behind, right? Like 10 minutes behind.
10 minutes slow.
Right. She eventually gets the cake, delivers it to the snobby girl, who we find out later knows Tombo.
Yes.
And she gets really sick because it's raining outside.
Yes.
Goes up to her place. Now, she gave the cat name, I'm forgetting. Gigi the afternoon off so he could get some meow.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, because he started to fall in love with the snooty cat that lived in the house.
Lives outside.
Or lives outside, I mean.
So,
I thought it was a house. Okay.
Kiki comes home, is sick, can't make the thing, falls asleep.
Yeah.
And the next day, she slowly starts to realize that her powers have faded considerably. Alana Jaylo, pick it up.
Okay. So not only does her powers start to fade, she notices that she can't hear her cat Gigi talking to her. And the nice baker lady that she is, Osono is her name. She says, "Oh no, have you lost your magic?" And she's like, "If I lose my magic, I've lost everything." So she feels like she's losing a sense of herself. And to the point where her broom is broken. And so she says, you know what? I'm going to take a break. She meets up with Ursula. Ursula invites her and Gigi to the cabin. And she tells the baker, you know what? I'm going to take a break from my work because I think I need it. So she goes to the cabin with Gigi. They end up seeing these geese that tried to attack her earlier in the film, which was kind of a funny scene.
I like that a lot.
And there were a lot of geese, right?
Yes.
So Ursula invites Kiki over, and they have a heart-to-heart conversation about her painting and Kiki flying. And Ursula admits that at one time she was really burned out and she couldn't figure out why she didn't want to paint anymore. She couldn't paint. And she took a break. She didn't think about it. And she somehow was able to find her inspiration. And she said, Kiki, you have to look for your inspiration. And then she decided that she wanted to paint a picture of Kiki's face because she thought that she had she had a really pretty face. And that Kiki was her inspiration to paint that picture. So she leaves the cabin. She's not able to fly, so I think she hitchhikes, right?
Yeah, it's unclear. We know that they hitchhiked to Ursula's place, though, which I thought was really cool to do in a kids' movie.
Right.
Yes. It's unclear whether she takes a cab back or hitchhikes, but she does get a ride back.
She gets back. Chime in, please.
Okay, so we skipped over a few things, but we don't have to share everything. So Tombo is really into aviation. There's a great scene with a bike, but we'll let you discover that by yourself.
Yes.
In any event, there is this big balloon thing that him and his friends want to go and see.
Mm-hmm.
So Kiki is just kind of like chilling at home, and the baker lady, Osono, says, "Hey, Kiki, I got this cake delivery I really want you to make." So she goes, sees the old lady, and the old lady made a cake for her and is trying to befriend her.
Mm-hmm.
The maid is watching this blimp on TV.
Yeah.
There's an accident. And Kiki sees that her man, Tombo, is on board it.
Well, it's not really her man. But,
well, is it?
I guess it's implied that they're interested in each other, or at least he's interested in her.
Okay.
Anyways,
she realizes that she's got to do something.
Really fast.
She goes out. Tombo's in trouble. At one point, she's like, the ambulance is trying to go down this road, but she's on it, so she has to jump out of the way. She grabs this guy's broom and wills it to fly.
Yep.
Saves the day. And the movie ends with this amateur plane that Tombo and his friends built together. Him flying it while Kiki is flying her broom beside him.
It was really cool.
Yeah, we skipped out on a lot of stuff, but this is such a good movie.
It is. It's really fun. It's funny. It really makes you think about. It really makes you think about about art if you're interested in art. It just. I think it's. I think it could really. It really makes adults think too, not just kids.
In a way, I was a little upset after watching this, knowing that the film was released in early 1989, but we didn't get it here.
Nope. It was in Japan.
Yeah, I think when I researched it, they said it was released in America on home video in like 1998.
Wow, that was a long time.
I could have that a little bit wrong, but it's something to that effect. And I think if I would have saw this film as a 6-year-old, I would have really, really enjoyed it.
As would I.
Yeah.
As would I, yep. I think it appeals to both children and adults alike, which is really good.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure not every Studio Ghibli movie would appeal to both children and adults. Just like not every Disney movie would appeal to all children and adults. But this one really, really worked. It
works on so many different levels. It's a really... And I like that neither of us knew what it was about.
It's very heartwarming. It's charming. It makes you think about why you like doing what you like doing if you're in the arts. Why some people get burned out. What Kiki may have been feeling even though she was a witch. She wanted to make friends. It really makes you think about stuff like that.
Right, but don't you like it that like I had heard the title before, but I had no clue to what it was about.
No, I thought it was just going to be about some cheesy movie about some delivery service.
Yeah, I like that we both went into it and we both got to experience it for the first time together.
So good.
Yeah. So now that we've established the fact that we want everybody to go and see it, let's do a little bit of character analysis.
All right.
Well, a question I have for you is there's a scene early on in the film where Kiki's mom is talking to somebody that we assume is like the grandmother, right? And it's implied that Kiki hasn't had the right amount of training yet.
Right.
So do you think that Kiki was sheltered as a child?
It's possible, yes. Very possible. Maybe her mother didn't think that she was going to leave so early.
Right.
And she thought that she had a lot of time. Just like a lot of mothers think that they have a lot of time with their kids before they move out of the house or go to college.
I mean, this is kind of like the hero's journey, right?
Yes.
Somebody who doesn't have it together, leaves home, and basically like conquers their demons, however you want to put it. We don't see her return, but we imagine that eventually she's going to go home and be a different person. So that raises a question. How do you think Kiki's parents respond to her when she comes back?
I think that they would probably see her as a changed person from when she left. Because when she left, it's like she had stars in her eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to conquer the world and didn't know what to expect. And now she's like, well, I had some experience and it's hard, but I made it. I made the best of it.
Do you think that her relationship with Tombo survives her leaving the city?
I would hope so.
Mm.
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, he seems like a nice kid.
Yes, he does.
He does. He didn't see her as just like this weirdo person because remember when he was talking to his friends, right? He made a comment and said she's an amazing girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
He really admired her for what the kind of person she was.
What does this film teach us about the kindness of strangers?
I've always depended on the kindness of strangers. No,
I know you have, Jaylo.
You mean like as far as the baker?
Well, yeah, there's the baker, but then there's also the older lady who Kiki befriends. And it's also Kiki's nice, and she's a stranger to these people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to get your take on that.
Well, I know that when we're kids, we're always taught not to talk to strangers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is true, but there are some strangers that are super willing to go out of their way to show you that they are to be trusted. I don't think you can go through life with, feeling that you can't trust anyone because, what kind of an existence would that be? But I think in this case, depending on the kindness of strangers is really worked for this movie, and you kind of have to think that there are strangers that really are kind. They're not there to hurt you. Not every stranger is there to hurt you.
What does Ursula teach us about doing the work?
I think she teaches us that yes, there are times where you could have a crisis in your artistic endeavors, like burnout or not being motivated, and I'm sure a lot of artists have gone through it. But that you can always go back to it when you find what inspires you. As soon as you find what inspires you and you realize what the joy, why this art gives you joy, whether it's flying or painting or what have you. And it seemed like she was very, very, she seemed like a very encouraging and hopeful person. Would you agree?
Yes.
The kind of person that any artist would love to talk to, I think.
I get the sense that she's maybe like 17 in this movie, and Kiki's 13, so she's kind of like an older sister figure.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that she had to go through those trials to really appreciate her art and her craft.
Do you believe that anybody in this town, outside of Kiki, has had experiences with witches before?
I don't think so.
See, I think maybe the shopkeeper has.
Maybe the baker has.
Baker has.
She may have actually been a witch. I don't know. Or maybe she isn't.
Mm-hmm.
But she's had run-ins with them.
Yes.
But she was willing to take her in because she thought, you know what? She could learn a thing or two from me. I will help her. And I like the baker. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
She just seemed like another kind stranger in Kiki's path.
Yes.
Yes.
It is a really good movie. Last night after we watched it, I Wikipedia'd the film.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it was like the highest grossing film in Japan in 1989.
I can understand why.
Yes.
It was really good.
And it's based on a 1985 book, also called Kiki's Delivery Service.
Really?
Which is on Bookshare.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yes.
Are you going to read it?
I'm thinking about it.
Very good.
But this is a really, really incredible movie.
Very well scripted. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
The music was good. Everything. I don't think I really have any complaint except for what you said about the not using Japanese voices. But
yes.
Otherwise, go check it out.
You asked me last night, what movie did I like better, this or the original Shrek? And
yeah, the first and second one.
Yes, I think I would put this just slightly above those two films, but they're kind of in the same league, though.
I would say that they're in the same category.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like one better than the other two, but I like them. I like them. I think they're all in the same category for me.
Are you going to recommend this film to people who you know?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. Yes. I would even recommend it to adults.
I could see that.
I would. I mean, it really speaks to adults and kids, especially ones that really have an artistic mindset.
We saw the Take video about this film. The Take is a YouTube channel that analyzes TV shows and films, and we watched that this morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's odd for me watching The Take, so I noticed something when I went back and listened to our episode about the Shawshank Redemption.
Yes.
I feel like I took a little bit too much from their video about it. Because
you really?
I'd seen it a bunch of times.
Oh, wow.
And if you watch their video and listen to us analyze Shawshank, you could tell I was heavily influenced by their video, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons I probably why I haven't referenced it here, but let's get into it now since I've made my own analysis of Kiki's, the film that we just watched.
Right.
It seemed like you were impacted by their video about this movie.
I was. And I was impacted. I had, yes, I was impacted greatly by their take. And part of it was because some of it was kind of depressing. If I'm really honest.
I would agree, but tell your piece.
Well, because they said something about 10% of college grads who graduated in the arts don't do anything, or I'm sorry, do something in their field, and the other 90% don't. And I'm like, that's really depressing. And also that artists have to work super hard, and sometimes they have to do something else. Wait, they have to work extra hard to distribute their work, and not a lot of companies would accept it.
It's like they work extra hard, and oftentimes it's for less money. And
right.
They compare it to Kiki because they're like, she flies in and she's a flying girl, but yet she still has to get a day job, even though she can fly.
Right. And
it's kind of the same with artists. You can do these incredible things, but that doesn't mean you're going to be able to pay the bills.
And she works for the kids that are not, that are just regular kids.
Yes. Which
is kind of interesting. And, and they're looking at her like, wow, she's working at her age.
Mm-hmm.
I would never have done that. And, it's a little bit, it's depressing, and it's a little bit discouraging, to be honest, to hear that about that 10%.
I think that figure's probably high too.
And it's like, wow. I mean, the art industries as a whole is, especially right now, right? They're really going through a hard time. It's really sad to see.
Yeah, like something I've thought about recently, babes. Before the pandemic hit, you and I used to go to PSU almost once a week to see live performances.
Great.
From music students.
Yes.
And I keep thinking to myself, well, what's life like for them? Like, especially the ones who like just graduated, because you really have to tour as a musician, and right now that's not an option.
No, it isn't.
At least not in a significant way.
Yeah. And I was just talking to you about what I really want to do, looking forward to, like going to open mics in person, thinking about being in an ensemble. And right now it's on hold. And I hate that it's on hold.
What I suggested, babes, is you like a lot of right-wing talk radio. So you used to do a right-wing podcast.
But put the arts in it.
Yeah, so like...
I don't think I want to do that.
I don't know, you could talk about how great you think Steve Bannon is. Or, you know, something to that effect. And then talk about how the liberals are trying to ruin our society. And then followed up by saying, oh, and we're going to take a break. Let me play this Paul Simon song for you on the flute.
Yeah, let me play you a cut of what I just created.
Yes.
Using a certain software.
After like going on a rant, like do it as angry as you can, make the angriest rant you can, and then be like, and now I'm going to play a song for you.
No, if I was going to make a podcast like that, I wasn't going to be an angry person.
Oh, good.
Because I wouldn't want to stoop to some angry liberals' levels.
Well, there's a lot of angry conservatives too, babes.
Oh.
There is.
Oh.
Yeah, there is, babes.
I think...
What about that Sean Hannity dude?
Okay. I don't think he's angry. The one criticism I would have of this guy is that he whines a lot.
Yeah, he does.
I do not like whiny conservatives, because there are whiny conservatives. Yes. And I'm not going to name them, but it's like, if you really want something done, just do it. Don't whine about it. I don't like whiny people anyway.
And what about that Janine Pura lady? She seems really angry.
She's the reason why I don't think she's angry. I think you're confusing anger for passion.
Oh. She's
a passionate woman. She's passionate about what she believes, and that may make you think that she's angry, but she isn't. And it sounds like you haven't watched her. So. And
Laura Ingraham seems like she hasn't been laid in a long time. Ah, stop! It does. And then stop. And also that Ann Coulter lady.
Well, okay, I don't like Ann Coulter. I think she's. I don't know about that lady. I don't really have a lot to comment on her because I don't know too much about her, but she kind of has flip-flopped a lot, and I'm not. Yeah, I have some things to criticize about her, but
she does seem very angry. So if you did like a conservative, so you would not be the first person to be like an angry.
I wasn't gonna be angry.
Okay.
No, I think that there are. I think you're confusing a lot of the anger for passion.
Uh-oh.
Because, there are passionate people in the conservative realm, but I can't stand the whiny ones. No. They really are.
Maybe you could have the Happy Conservative podcast. Alana the Happy Conservative. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but there's going to be times where I get passionate about stuff.
That's true.
But I don't think I want to have a podcast.
Okay.
I mean, it's an idea, but I don't know if I want to do that.
But I was just, so getting back, because I took us off subject a little bit.
Thank you. We went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, thanks to you. But we were trying to talk about, different ways you could get your art out there after watching the Takes video on Kiki's delivery service.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's some things. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I just know that if and when things start to open to where we can go to live music, I do want to go to more arts related things. And open mics are something that I've really enjoyed going with you.
Yeah.
Especially since we met at one of them.
Yes.
At one. It was good. Maybe some PFS stuff.
Yep.
And I'll explain what those are. Or should I say what it is?
I already know what it is, but for everybody else, go ahead.
Portland Flute Society
Yes,
stuff.
yes. What I was thinking.
No, you were not thinking that.
Well, keep going, babes.
You're probably thinking about other stuff.
Uh-oh.
Right?
Yes.
Portland Flute Society stuff, maybe. Because, I've done that when I was in college, and I really enjoyed it because I was a student member of the Seattle Flute Society.
Yes.
And my teacher was the president, which is pretty cool.
I'm just going to ask one question about this.
What?
Because we don't have to get into the whole political thing.
Oh, no.
But I want to ask you a conservative love question.
What's that?
Okay, let's say, I hope this doesn't happen, but let's say in 2024, Marjorie Taylor Greene becomes president. And she comes to you and says, Alana, I want to be the best conservative president I can. And in order to do that, I've decided to divorce my husband, and I need you to donate Rick for the good of our country.
Oh, my goodness.
To me. Would you donate me to Marjorie Taylor Greene?
No.
Okay, good.
Because it would have nothing to do politically. It would just have everything to do with somebody wanting to take my man.
Okay, that's good to know. I just wanted to make sure.
No.
I know I've asked similar questions about AOC.
You've asked some really weird stuff about giving you up to AOC, and I wouldn't.
But yeah, I'm glad.
And she's got a man anyway, so.
Unfortunately, yes. But I'm glad to know.
Fortunately for me.
Yes, I'm glad to know that you would not donate me to Marjorie Taylor Greene either. So that makes me feel good.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. But
you wouldn't donate me to let me think. Let me think of somebody. You wouldn't donate me to anybody that you like?
No.
Good.
No. Anyways.
Anyway, I think we've gone down this weird rabbit hole.
And you took us there.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
You did?
Maybe I did.
Yes, you did.
Yes, but that's probably the reason why you should give me a kiss.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, you will. But it does make you think about art and all that good stuff. So.
Yes.
When we talked about the Queen's Gambit.
Yes.
You said that it inspired you to want to download some books on flute technique.
Yes, sir, certainly. Yes.
And I'm wondering if we could have a follow-up. Have you done that yet?
I have not. I have not because I've been reading my book, but that is something that I want to look into today, actually. Yeah, because I mean, why not? I mean, if I can't perform anywhere right now, and I can't. I don't know. I think I want to study it more and put it to good use.
Very good, Gio. Well,
that's a step in the right direction, I think.
Yes. Is there anything more about art that you want to say here? Oh, let me ask you this.
What's that?
Will you read any of the art books I've recommended to you?
Oh, like The War of Art?
Yeah.
I don't know. The Artist's Way just seems like a big commitment.
That is a big commitment. The War of Art is very simple, though.
Maybe The War of Art. I don't know. Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly.
Fair enough, babes.
But the Artist's Way, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. It just seems like a big commitment.
Is there anything else you want to say about art or Kiki's delivery service?
We can't stress enough that this movie is just...
It's a gem.
It's a gem. I think it should be a classic.
Yes.
If it isn't already. And really, check it out. And good for the whole family. It really is.
And this makes me also a fan of discovering movies again, right? Because we just kind of like fell upon it, and it's so cool. It's a really cool experience. It's not like our friends were telling us for years to see this movie.
Yeah.
I had heard about it the night before, and I think maybe somebody had mentioned it in high school, but because I vaguely remember hearing the name, but that's it. Yeah,
it was really good. And weren't you glad that I recommended that we watch another Studio Ghibli movie? Because
yeah.
I've never, or Ghibli movie, I've never watched another one like that. Never watched a Studio Ghibli movie until last night. And I wanted to see if there was a better movie, well, a better plot line, I should say, than the first one.
What happened is after we finished the Yamadas, I said, do you want to watch another Studio Ghibli movie? And you're like, okay. And then I said, well, I know the name Kiki's Delivery Service. Let's watch that. But it was good. And we've decided that next weekend we are going to watch Two Girls and a Guy, 27 Dresses, The First Wives Club, and then we're going to take another chance and randomly select a Studio Ghibli movie.
I think it's a good plan.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
I do too, babes.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I hope you like the ones that I selected.
I hope I do too, babes. And I hope you like Two Girls and a Guy.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope I like it better than in the company of men.
Wow, you make it sound like it was such a horrible movie.
I'm sorry, I did not like it. I think From Dusk Till Dawn was worse, of course, but this was yeah. I don't care to watch this movie again. In the company of men, I mean.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I just that's how I feel.
Okay, you're entitled to your opinion.
Yes.
Even though it's incorrect.
Ah.
Jaylo.
Yes.
Did you have any dreams last night?
The one dream I had this morning when I went back to sleep was that I was listening to something on the dot, and it was like this talk show, and a bunch of people were on it, and I think they were trying to promote something, but I'm not sure what it was. I couldn't remember what it was. It was like a morning show or something, but it seemed like a fun show.
Nice.
What did you dream? You tell your dream.
Yes. When we went back to sleep around 8, I had a dream that my cousin was driving me and my girlfriend, who is not you in this dream.
Different girl.
Yes.
You always have interesting dreams with other girls in it.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes. Was driving us to the NFB headquarters in Baltimore for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And he had this dog who really liked playing with me. At one point, we stop at a gas station. We get back in the car. The dog then goes to play with my cousin. We end up in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to get out of the car, and we realize that because it's the NFB, people are breaking up into little groups based on their favorite sections of the Bible.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, because the NFB, at least when I was part of it, was very religious, right?
See, I did not notice that, but I only went to like maybe a few meetings here and there and state convention. So
it's possible that it's changed, or that I just noticed it based on the chapter I was in.
Maybe some chapters are not like that.
I will tell you this as a sidetrack, and then we're going to get back to my dream.
Right.
Before I dated you, I dated a girl who was super into writing and would go to writers' conventions, which plays into the next part I'm going to tell you. She told me that the NFB was the only organization who at their convention do a prayer before starting the day session.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Anyways, in my dream, we get to Baltimore. Everybody's breaking up into different Bible groups. My cousin asked me, do you read the Bible? I say no. He says, just walk around. Join the group if you can, and hopefully they won't ask too many questions. We get out of the car. My girlfriend goes her way. I go mine. And I start thinking to myself, if this road trip was a movie, this would be a good ending spot. Then I go into some random building. I meet some lady working there who's, dressed in kind of like old maid type of an outfit, but she has blonde hair and she looks like she could be kind of pretty, even though she has her hair up in a ponytail.
Oh, wow.
And then I start thinking, this is the part of the movie where I fall in love and the movie ends.
Mm-hmm.
But she just leads me to these stairs. I go up these stairs, a couple floors, and I see these guys in this room, and they seem like they might be slow adults. So I leave the room, I go back down the stairs, I walk outside the building, I'm trying to find another NFB location. I'm thinking to myself, if I go into one, maybe I could sing the sound. Excuse me, I just burped. Maybe I could sing the sound of silence, and then I hear bow, 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 and I woke up because the dot went off.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
You may not understand this dream entirely, but why do you think that the Bible came up in your dream?
I have no idea. Maybe it's a sign that the dream is meant to become like a B movie, and I'm supposed to write it out. Like there's this journey that these cousins have with a dog and a girl, and they go to the NFB, and the Bible represents a lack of faith for our protagonist. I don't know. What do you think?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's because you've been shying away from it for so long that now that it's it's come up in your dream, you're like, well, maybe I should handle this like a movie. I don't really want to participate in what's going on in the NFB thing, but maybe I should think of this in an artistic fashion, and I don't know. The Bible is in it. I'm not sure. I don't know. It could be a myriad of things.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's because we're gonna do something next week.
That's right. Jaylo Loves Jesus, Part 5. Coming up, biatches.
All right. That's enough.
Okay, sorry, babes. I didn't know that was wrong.
Yeah.
Anything's possible, babes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's interesting, though.
It is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of my dream?
I think it could very well be an interesting movie.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to include the Bible, but I think it would make it a little interesting. I don't know. Whether or not the protagonist, which would probably be you, right?
I guess.
Or somebody, whether or not the protagonist participates in these sessions. And it doesn't even have to be the Bible that they discuss. It could be like another, like a book that they're reading or something. I don't know.
It could
Kernel
be
book.
Oh yeah, a kernel book. Exactly.
It could be a kernel book. It doesn't have to necessarily be the Bible, although I think it's interesting that the Bible is in your dream.
Oh. Well, that's something to think about there, Jay. Well,
it is.
Are you going to be thinking about that when you pray tonight?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm not sure about the movie. About it being
about
movie?
My dream and about how I had the Bible in a dream.
I don't know what I don't know what my prayer would consist concerning that, but I could pray about something related to you.
Now, I'm not complaining about this.
Okay.
But it doesn't seem like you pray when I'm here.
I do. I just haven't, I thought about it, but it doesn't mean that I'm not.
Oh, so you do it like silently.
I haven't asked you to, but maybe I should.
No, because then I'd have to say no, and then that would be super awkward.
Why not?
Why not what?
Why would it be awkward?
Me saying no, I think, would be awkward for you.
Well, it would be, but, you wouldn't, I don't know. I do, but I haven't asked you, and I'm thinking maybe I should change that.
But if you ask me, I'm going to say no, though.
Why?
Because I don't believe in the Bible.
Well.
Like, I said yes when your mom was here just because, I don't want to seem rude or anything. But, I'm in a relationship with you and not your mom.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Who knows? You might get into it.
Oh, I doubt it, babes.
Yes, but you don't know that.
I don't know, but I doubt it, babes.
You doubt it now.
Oh.
But that has, it remains to be seen what will happen. I'm just saying.
Yes.
You may actually enjoy it. It may actually change your way of thinking a little bit.
Anything's possible, but it's unlikely. But I still love you, babes.
I don't know, Bob. You can't say that. This is one of those things where you really can't say what would happen to you.
The only way I could possibly see myself becoming a Christian is, and even then, it's like really far fetched in my mind. But if I found like a hippie Christian church to go to, I can be a conservative Christian.
Well, hold on a second, though.
What's up?
That would be defeating the purpose.
I don't think so. I mean, listen, I'm not going to any hippie churches.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. The hippie church is only going to tell you what you want to hear. What you want to hear is different from what you need to hear, and they're not gonna give you the truth.
But how do you know that the fire and brimstone churches aren't just telling you what you want to hear?
They're not. And by the way, church isn't supposed to make you church. People don't go to church to make themselves feel good, and it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be that way.
No, I know that it shouldn't be that way, Baze, but a lot of people do.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I know a lot of people do because a lot of people use it as a social club. And I know this for a fact because there were churches I've been to that were, seemed to be, well, they weren't hippie churches, but they were also not as, what's the word I'm looking for? They weren't willing to really get to the nitty gritty of stuff.
There wasn't enough brimstone in their fire.
It wasn't like that, no.
Okay.
And I'm frankly sick of the feel good stuff. I mean, I really am. I mean, I've seen too much of it. It doesn't. It's not what people need to hear. And I think that going to a hippie church is just a cop out.
Yeah, listen, I'm not planning to go to any church anytime soon. But on the off chance that one day I become a Christian, I think it would be more believable for me to go to a hippie church.
But the point isn't going to a church that you like because your friends are there or the preacher is great or whatever. It's more than that, and I don't want to get into that because this is not a Bible discussion.
Yeah, and I understand that it's more than that.
It's way more than that.
I would only say that philosophically speaking, while there are some areas where I'm conservative and all that good stuff, I identify a lot with the hippie way of life. Not 100%, but there's a lot of crossover.
Let me encourage you to do this.
Go ahead.
When we're not discussing it, I would highly encourage you to talk to your friends who would disagree with you because
I do.
No. On this issue.
Okay.
I would highly recommend and encourage you to talk to them because we've talked about this before and you know how I feel about it.
Yes.
But I would really encourage you to see what they all say too because I remember you telling me that you told some of your friends that you were thinking about doing that and they were just kind of like rolling their eyes, right?
It seemed like that. I didn't see that.
I would recommend that you talk to them about this.
Anything's possible, babes.
Because well, I'll have to discuss this with you at the lesson I'll be giving.
On Jaylo Loves Jesus, part 5.
Oh my goodness.
What?
Yeah.
But you have told me, and then we can wrap this up.
Yes.
That you don't think that somebody could be a good Christian and also be a liberal.
No, I think that they're very, I think that they're very different from each other. Wow. And I don't think that living a Christian life is, I don't think there's any room for liberalism, if you ask me. I really don't.
See, that makes me think that I can never be a Christian, or it would be very difficult because I see myself as very, very lefty.
But the point of conversion isn't so much what you want. It's not, it has nothing to do with you.
I understand, but it's not just what I want, but it's how I look at the world. I look at the world in a lefty way.
I understand, but the point of conversion to me is that you are throwing your old habits and your old way of thinking and becoming a different person from the inside out. But I don't really want to go into this because I know it's okay. It's getting a little bit too deep here. And I think we've gone down a rabbit hole. Okay. But anyway, no, I don't think that liberalism and Christianity go together at all.
Wow. So maybe it's good that I'm not a Christian then.
I never said that.
But maybe it is.
I never said that. I think that it is possible for anyone to be, but the hardest thing for people to do is to give up their own control.
Right. I would agree with you on that one specific point.
But that's the whole point, is because a person can't convert, a person can't go through a spiritual conversion if they don't give up their control, because I understand why it's hard.
But
that's
okay. The last point I would make, and then we can drop this and make out.
Oh my goodness.
Is that there are conservative atheists.
I don't understand that.
I don't understand, but it is a thing, right?
I don't get it.
I don't get it, but it is a thing. And so I can make the opposite argument, and I could say, well, those people have to learn once they're born again to drop control and let people be lib and, all that stuff. You can make the reverse argument.
Oh, you mean what?
So, like, you're saying, well, Rick, you're a liberal, and that's, great for you and your hippiness. But if you ever become a Christian, you're going to have to give up control and, worship God and become a conservative. But I could say the opposite of that is true. I could say, well, let's look at a conservative atheist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I have to give up control, then who's to say that they might not have to give up control and change their beliefs and become like a liberal Christian once they convert?
That I don't know that would work.
Okay.
Because number one, I mean, and there's also conservative agnostics, which I don't understand
That
either.
is true.
But number one, I don't know how atheism and conservatism go together. See,
but they
strange.
do. There are atheist conservatives.
No, I know that they are, but I don't think that they go together.
Oh.
It's like an oxymoron. They're totally the opposite end of the spectrum. I just don't get it.
Interesting.
I don't understand it. I don't even understand why some atheists go to church.
Yeah, I find
Isn't
that
that
crazy,
weird?
and I know atheists who do that, and it always kind of ropes me the wrong way.
Why they celebrate Christmas when they don't even believe in a God? So what's the point, right?
Yes.
I don't understand. See, this is where.
But I agree with you on those 2 points.
I don't understand the dichotomy of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the opposite. It's like you can't meld those two things together. It just doesn't work.
I hear you. Babes.
Yes?
What if you have a vision tonight and Jesus comes to you and says, hey, Jaylo, I have a shock for you. I'm actually a hippie.
First off, that would never happen.
Well, what if Jesus says, okay, maybe I'm not a full-on hippie, but I have like a lot of hippie beliefs. What would you do?
I would say, who are you? Get out of my house.
No, but you have like a vision from God saying, hey, just so you know,
I would highly
we're kind of hippies.
I would highly question that.
Uh-oh.
I wouldn't, no, I would not. No, I could not subscribe to it.
Interesting, babe. So you would stop being a Christian then?
No, I never said that.
Okay.
I said I would not subscribe to whoever is saying this to me.
Oh.
I wouldn't think I was a real Jesus.
But what if there was no doubt in your mind that was the real Jesus and that you were having a true on vision?
I would really think that something was wrong with my mind.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make a cheap joke, but anyways.
You better not.
I will not do that.
Because you know what's going to happen. The wrath of Jaylo will be upon you.
Okay.
Well, my version of wrath.
Okay, honey. Okay. Well, Jaylo.
Yeah.
I think we've had a very interesting discussion.
We certainly have.
Is there anything else you want to say about life in general or hippies and Christians?
I'm just very happy that we have gotten through this ice and snowstorm, because last week was a very strange week. In fact, I didn't see you at all last week.
No.
And which was probably a good thing in a way, because I didn't want, what would happen if you you were stuck here, you didn't have any clothes. I mean, that would have been hard, right? And it would have been hard for you to get home.
Right. I'm going to not make the adult joke that just entered my mind.
Uh-oh.
But anyways.
You'll have to tell me that later.
Yes.
Because I have a feeling you're going to, right?
Stuck here with no clothes with you? That would be hard.
Okay.
All right.
All right. You just did it.
All right.
And I'm glad that my internet is back. Thank goodness. It was only gone for 2 days, and I may have mentioned that last time, but
you just mentioned it again.
Very happy.
Yes.
Yes, I must have mentioned it again.
Yes.
But I'm very happy.
Yes. I think it's about time for us to make out real quick before I go. Let's start here.
Oh my goodness.
Mm. Mm.
All right.
All right. We good, babes? Anything else?
No, but happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday. That's coming out much later. Watch Kiki's Delivery Service. It's a lot of fun.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye for now.